Hello, hi, welcome to the video. Another book video time. Yes. Before I start, don't mind my hair, it's living its own life. So therefore, cap on. But yeah, today we're gonna do a little summary of all the books we read this year and what was like the favorites and the surprises and all that jazz. Just a bunch of jabbing and talking about books and stuff. So that's what's gonna go on. Grab your tea, coffee, snack, whatever you prefer, and let's dive into some book video talk. This video might be a bit long, we will see. I got some top favorites ones and I want to talk about them briefly. For starters, right now when I'm filming this is the end of November, so it's not the end of the year, and there might be more books that I'm still gonna read that I haven't been able to read. So those won't be on the list sadly, but everything from January to November is on here. Okie dokie, let's go and talk about the books. Yes. I want to mention a couple of books that felt like this is so me, like this book was made for me, you know. They connected with me a lot, and I don't know if it's connected with other people as much, but those are Pure Color, Shark Heart, A Love Story, and Perks of Being a Wallflower. Those three, I will try to put them on the screen here, the images, so it's easier to see which ones I'm talking about. I felt very connected to them in different ways. Shark Heart, A Love Story, it's a love story that's in the title, you know? So if you want a tragic but wonderful love story, I would highly recommend it. And it's kind of like fiction, like it's not real, you know, but it feels real. It deals with diseases, but diseases in a way that deals with mutation and animals and creatures and stuff, using that to draw parallels to like real life and the characters and what they go through, and the main two people in this love story, the hardship and all the shit they go through. Man, great book. Then Perks of Being a Wallflower, seen that like movie poster a bunch of times, and I always been interested of seeing the movie, never watched the movie, and then I saw that it's based on a book, so I listened to it as an audiobook. I loved it a lot. It's about this main character who is very intellectual and also very introverted in their young years, their teens. I believe they are going to college and trying to figure out kind of their life in the future. It was so refreshing to see their perspective through their eyes and how they perceive the world. Quite like an emotional story with hardships and things to relate to. And it does deal with younger people and kind of like, you know, more of the high school drama and that stuff. But I wouldn't say that it is over dramatic or doing it injustice. I think it's a really lovely book. If you enjoy just humans being humans and people being people and human interaction, I would highly recommend that. And then also Pure Color, which is probably the most weird one out of all these three. Pure Color is an abstract book. It's almost like a painting, and I love my art and my paintings, you know. It's about the first draft, or the creation of something, the creation of people. It's kind of like when you're creating Sims character and you put them in a sandbox and then you just see what they do, you know. Like a human experiment. The way that this book touched up on grief and sadness, but mostly like grief, I felt was so raw and emotional, and it really affected me. Just this book was so interesting with, once again, people being people. I think you guys can see a pattern here with these three books. It's just people interacting with each other, doing messy decisions. They're not perfect and they're not awful either, you know. It's a gray overall spectrum, and I just enjoy the shit out of that. These are the three books that I feel like I vibed a lot to, and I don't know if other people will vibe with these books. I love them, and they took me on an emotional journey for sure. I loved every bit of it. Yeah. Then I got some books I want to mention that was hard to read, that I struggled to read, but were really effective, and I loved them to bits. These books are Sorrow and Bliss. I read that very recently. The Vegetarian, I read that like in the beginning of the year, or maybe like spring. And also The Bread That the Devil Ned, right? Ned? The Bread That the Devil Need, Ned. These books were really effective, really raw, quite emotional books, are really hard to read. All these books are books that I read once, and I feel like maybe I will get back to them, but I feel like reading them once was enough. You know? For example, Sorrow and Bliss, this book tackles a lot with mental health and also people interaction, and also different diagnoses and a person who's being unstable. The way it talked about mental health and stuff I found really important, but also really hard to read. And I loved the main character, even though she was such a mess. I loved her to bits. So yeah, Sorrow and Bliss. And then we got also The Vegetarian. This book was really hard to read. It had some abstract scenarios, but also some really real and raw scenarios that was really hard to read through, and I still remember those scenarios. It also went really weird and wonky, this book, but also very symbolic. But it's about a person who's becoming a vegetarian and her social interactions, how they change because of that, and how some people, or this example, the family dynamic, don't approve of that, and also the length she goes to be a vegetarian and the dreams she has. It's really intense stuff, really graphic stuff, but very effective. An amazing book for sure. And then The Bread That the Devil Ned, I'm sorry for mispronouncing this book, but this was also one of the recent reads, and this was really hard to read and really heart-wrenching. It deals with topics with abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and even more. So it's very adult-ish. I mean, I would say all these books are very adult-ish, but the way the author wrote felt so human and so vivid, and you felt like you really were there, like they did that, you know, they made me feel this way. So amazing job, holy shit, great books, but hard books to read. I'm glad that I read them, but they were hard to get through, but amazing books. So if you want some darker books recommendations, I would recommend these three very much. Okay, books I could not put down. We got some books that I got so addictive to that I just had to flip through the pages, or I was like constantly thinking about it when I put it down. We got Yellowface, we got The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and Things Has Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. These 3 books, oh my god, oh my lordy. First of all, really entertaining books. All of them have kind of a thriller aspect to them. I guess The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is least thriller-ish when it comes to like dark tones, but it's still a thrilling ride, so yeah. For example, Yellowface. Oh my god, something really bad and absurd happens in the beginning of the book, and it's kind of like that dark humor thing, and then the book just escalates and go with that, and it's freaking insane, and you know that this is wrong. You just want the main character to stop, but you can't look away because it's so interesting, you know? It's so insane. Like, how this book starts out is insane, and how this book ends is insane. That's all I want to say about Yellowface. Sorry. My voice. Could not put it down. Awesome read. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This was such a thrilling but enjoyable drama book. And you follow Evelyn Hugo and all the 7 husbands she's been through in her life. And it's such a heartwarming but also sad story. It's drawing comparison to like Hollywood, old Hollywood stuff. You can't stop reading it. It's so fucking effective, you know? Loved that. And then we got Things Has Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. This book is the most bananas out of all of them, I think. This is a horror one, more of a horror one. It starts out kind of normal, I would say, and then it escalates. And the way it does that, it feels so normal. Like this feels like a thing happening in real life. It's insane. It's insane how something that's very genuine and start out as a friendly interaction grows and becomes something more, and then the obsession and all that stuff. When I finished this book, I returned it like right away to the library because I was like, I cannot have this book at home. I need to sleep. All these 3 books, thrilling as rides, really exciting, dark humor, awesome vibes. If you have a hard time getting into reading or don't enjoy slow books or whatever, I would recommend these 3. I believe the last one I spoke about, Things That's Gotten Worse Than We Last Spoke, is the shortest one. Maybe it's like over 100 pages, so it's not that long. The other ones are longer, but it goes so fast. So highly recommend if you want a really exciting and thrilling read for sure. And the surprise book I would say for this year was Find a Way. This is it a memoir or a biography? I'm not 100% sure. It's about this swimmer and her journey doing the insane swim that she did. And it's just insane. And it's so inspiring. And after I finished the book, I went and looked up a bunch of stuff on YouTube, interviews, little clips here and there. I just wanted to know more about this person. Apparently there's like a Netflix movie out of it now too. But so inspiring, this book, and it made me really happy reading it and made me feel like, you know, you can accomplish anything, whatever gender, age, person you are, as long as you have that motivation and you can give it time, and it might be your turn, you know. Awesome book, very inspirational, big surprise of the year for sure. I enjoyed it so much. And I mean, if you guys have seen my graphs, my reading graphs, I think that is like the one inspirational book I have on there. Awesome book. Yes, highly recommend if you want to get some motivation and be inspired and see someone else's journey. Insane, freaking insane what the human body can do. Holy shit. And then the last one, the best books, or like the books I would rank top this year that I read. So those are Before the Coffee Gets Cold and A Man Named Ove, En man som heter Ove, or A Man Called Ove, whatever it is in English. I always forget. Anyways, these 2 books, best ones. In my opinion, The Coffee Gets Cold. Are we even surprised? This book takes place in Japan. It deals with a coffee place, people interacting with people in the past. It has a soft time travel aspect. It also has some stakes, going back in time and unsaying things and wanna redo scenarios that you regret. It follows also a bunch of different characters, which I really like. I really like short stories, and you get different perspective from different characters. So love Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And then of course A Man Named Ove, or A Man Called Ove, or whatever it is in English. Such a lovely book about this man who's reflecting on his life and interacting with his neighbors, and how he can seem very stern and hard on the outside, but on the inside he's just a soft man, a soft, warm, cuddly man, you know. It's really interesting. It does deal with ending your life thoughts and that stuff, so I would put a little trigger on that, but it's not heavy as the other books that I mentioned before. Really a book about self-reflection, and just it makes you warm and cuddly, but also it's really sad at the same time. But yeah, this is definitely a book for me. INFJ book. I relate to the old people. What can I say? These are all the books that I would put in my end of the year video like this. Really hard to choose, really hard to choose. I have read a bunch of books, but this is what I could limit myself down to. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm looking forward to read more next year and see wherever I happen to be at. And I hope that you guys have had a great reading year too. I'm looking forward to read some more books next year too, you know? And if you guys have read any of these books, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about these books. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay? Bye bye!